Coach, if you could please provide your opening comments, we appreciate it.
Just want to say congratulations to Oregon State. Really tough basketball team. They're young. They're going to be back in this position again, and they're probably going to get over the hump. They're that good on both sides of the basketball. We are extremely fortunate and lucky to get out of this region and on to the Final Four. So super proud of our team for the resilience and the taking their competitive spirits to another level to secure us another berth into to the Final Four.
Thank you. We'll now start with questions for the student athletes. Row 2 here.
Hi, Howard Mandel at the Next. Congratulations to you guys. One for each of you, if I could. Tessa, if you could take me through kind of the thought process around, you had this kind of tough end one finish, a critical moment in this one, and then Ashlyn, you have a block percentage of 11. It's among the top in the country. Obviously, Watkins, the nickname. I'm just wondering how much you take particular pride in being a rim protector.
The thought process going through my head was, my shots weren't falling as I wanted, so I needed to attack, and, they called the foul, so that's really it.
With me, I love playing defense. I love jumping, and I just like being active on the defensive end. And I think that's what gets us started on the offensive end, good defense.
Thank you. Questions? Yes, right here.
Deshaun from NBA Online. This question is for both student athletes. We're witnessing the growth of women basketball taking off to new heights. Can you guys talk about how good it feels to be a part of that history and watching the evolution of women's basketball take off to where it is right now?
It's special.
I agree because, when I was younger, we were watching this and just being able to be here and being role models for the younger generations, it's what Ashlyn said, special.
And I didn't realize that women's basketball just started coming being March Madness. I didn't realize that a couple years ago. I didn't know that.
Here.
Michael Vogel, ESPN.com. Tessa, could you just talk about your growth process? Coach Staley has talked about this year, your growth process this year, and how that sort of got you ready for a big moment like today, leading the Gamecocks in scoring in an Elite Eight game.
Practices, I struggle a little bit in practices, but just being able to, look past it and learn from my mistakes and having my teammates helping me and my coaches helping me and just having a growth mindset. I think I'm struggling with my mindset a lot, so being able to grow with my mindset is the biggest piece.
Before the question, I do have an announcement, folks, please. Due to a team practice, the court will be closing at 4:45 p.m., so all media will need to remove their belongings from the court area by 4:45 p.m. We apologize for the inconvenience. Back to our questions.
Drew Wemple from the Troy Record in Saratoga. This question is for Tessa right here.
There you are.
You guys, I think in that third quarter, were 2 for 15 from 3, and then you hit 1 and Raven hits 1. Can you just talk about what, seeing those shots start to fall meant for this team to be able to put together that run that essentially won you the game late?
To my knowledge, I believe Raven hit it first, and me and Pau were saying she opened up the basket for us, and then I remember she passed it to me and I just let it go, and then it brought momentum to the team.
Holly Rowe, ESPN. This is for Ashlyn. What did you tell Coach Staley after the Indiana game? You promised her something. What was it, and how did you live up to it today?
I told her that I was going to have more energy. I was going to be there for my team, and I feel like I lived up to that today. I was just everywhere. I wanted to be everywhere. I wanted to get every rebound, and I did. I almost did.
Thank you. Coming back, be right here.
Griffin Haas, News 10 ABC here in Albany. For Tessa, just as a freshman, just talk about how special it is, that feeling of cutting down the nets and being able to have that celebration with your teammates out there.
It's very special because, like I said earlier, I was the little girl dreaming of being up there, and now I am. And especially with my teammates, like my team, I love my team. I can't ask for a better team and coaches.
More questions for the students? One more here. Come on up.
Deshaun for MV Online. Question for both student athletes. As we finish off Women's History Month for March, I'd like to ask, who are the inspirations in your life that made you into the woman you are today?
For me, I would say, I don't even know if this makes sense, but God, like, I live through Christ. He lives through me, so that's how I am who I am.
For me, I say my mother. She was always there for me, like in AAU. She took me to all my games, and she's my backbone. I owe it all to her.
One more, folks? Yes, go ahead. Last one.
Ashlyn, just to kind of follow up, you talked about how much pleasure you take, how much joy you take in shot blocking. There's obviously a legacy of bigs here who have done it, from Aaliyah to Asia. Do you have a goal of being at or above the level they were, even as rim protectors?
I don't really have a goal. Like, I don't have a goal like that. I just play basketball. But like, if it comes to that, then it's great to be on their level because they're great basketball players.
Thank you to the student athletes for your time this weekend. We appreciate it.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
We'll now take questions for Coach Staley. Start here.
Hey, Coach, congrats on making it back to the Final Four. Doug Feinberg, the AP. It's 4 straight years I think you've made it that far. Last year you guys were undefeated also at this point. What does it mean to get this group to the Final Four? And what, if anything, did you learn last year that you might be able to apply to this year to get further?
Just proud because we beat the odds. I mean, the odds said that we weren't, we shouldn't make it back to the Final Four. Just proud of our team and for them believing in themselves. They created a certain level of chemistry and culture, and they stuck with it. And then they allowed us to coach them, and they trusted us to coach them, even when it didn't feel good to them personally at different times of the season. And then overall, I just think that I think God has a funny way of dealing with people, and I'm one of his. And for us to lose the way we lost last year, and for him to bring us to this point today, makes me believe a little bit deeper. And it strengthens my faith in who he is, because, I mean, it's I don't know what the Bible verse is, but I know that when you're at your worst and your weakest moments, he's at his best. And he started working on that the day that buzzer sound last year during this time. So I am proud of our team, and I don't want to ever not give God the glory for giving us uncommon favor.
Go ahead, back.
Dawn Howard Magdal, the Nats. Congratulations on the Final Four. I obviously was asking Ashlyn about it, but I'm curious your perspective about it. This is a program that's had so many shot blockers at an elite level, just purely from that perspective, especially on a day where you can see her flying around like she was today. Do you think she has a chance to be the best shot blocker you've had at this program?
I mean, it starts with volleyball. I mean, Asia played volleyball. Ashlyn played volleyball. We got another one coming in, Joyce Edwards plays volleyball. So I think those 2-3 sport athletes always gives us an opportunity to be great shot blockers. I mean, Ash, I don't know if she she came into South Carolina saying, I want to be one of the best or the best. But when you put it out there in front of her and she understands what that means, she'll start goal setting. She's got a chance because she can guard on the perimeter, she can guard in the post. So there are more opportunities for her to block shots because of her athletic ability and her ability to play, positions 1 through 5.
Dan Zakrzewski, Outkick.com. Coach, you've mentioned the Bible, your student athletes wished everyone a happy Easter. I'm just wondering if this win had any special meaning for you, given that it came on Easter Sunday. Easter Sunday's pretty cool, but we all know who's the reason for all seasons, and we just don't celebrate on the victories. We don't. Last year I thank God for even the loss, because I don't want to be one-sided, and to give him the glory when it's only befitting for wins. But last year rocked me. It rocked me. It rocked me because we had a team full of players who did all the right things, gave us no issues for 4 years. They were COVID babies. They missed the NCAA tournament their freshman year. They came back, went to the Final Four. Their sophomore years, we lost at a, missed putback that was devastating to Aaliyah Boston. And then they come back and win a national championship in 2022. And then they carried the heavy load of trying to go back-to-back. And then it didn't end that way. But they gave every single thing. If you could have been around that particular group of young ladies, you want them to win. And we don't know why. And we often try to ask God why, why. And, today I stand here as our why. Doesn't make them feel any better about them not cementing their legacy even more. But I know they're happy, proud of this group, and they're happy, proud of South Carolina, where they chose to come to school and create a legacy. So we have that culture in our program where I'm sure if I go back and check the tweets, Asia, Aaliyah, Leticia, all of them, Zaya, all of them are probably tweeting how proud they are of our basketball team. So, Easter is as significant as any other day, but he is risen.
Hey Don, Chantel Jennings with The Athletic. Congrats on the win. I'm sure every group you coach has an impact on who you are as a person and a coach, but you've talked a lot about the unique personality of this group. I'm curious how they've changed you as a coach.
This is probably the first time in my career that a team has more stamina in certain areas, like much more stamina than I could discipline them for. So I've learned to not fight certain battles, not core value battles, not the core principle of who we are and what I stand for, but just their identity. They're loose, they play free, and it's allowed them to kind of police themselves and to hold each other accountable. And so in one regard, I relinquish that. In the other regard, they're taking care of it, but it's just different than I'm used to. So I give in to allowing them to be their silly selves. They're really silly. They talk a lot about nothing, but some of that talk is holding each other accountable. They talk to each other in some of the most unadulterated ways that we got to close the door and just kind of give them their space. But they enjoy each other. That's who they are.
Here, and then right behind.
Marvin Chambers, 4.0 Sports Media. Congratulations, Coach. First and foremost, I saw you in Philly. You talk about women of color having position, getting an opportunity. Your success at South Carolina, do you think has catapulted more opportunities for women of color and men of color?
You know, every time I get a lot of requests to recommend people for jobs, and I'm over. I tell them that you may want me to call on your behalf, but the people that I've called for it, they don't get the job. I don't even think they get the interview. So I don't know if I'm the route. I mean, maybe I'm not the person that should be their mouthpiece when it comes to recommendations, but it's not going to prevent me from continuing to try to get them jobs. So I think our success at South Carolina will raise some eyebrows to give someone else of color an opportunity. So there's not a direct path through me, and maybe I'm bad at convincing people to give somebody an opportunity.
Go ahead.
Hi, Coach. Isabel Rodriguez with the Knack. Congrats on the win. Obviously, you've been a great point guard, and you've coached against a lot of great point guards and coached them yourself. I'm just curious what you saw from Donovan Hunter today and what that matchup with her and Raven Johnson was like to coach, and what that whole environment was like.
I think Donovan's going to be great. She's already great. I mean, for her to be a freshman and to get her team in a position of one step away from going to the Final Four means that her future is bright. I mean, the entire program of Oregon State's future is bright. I mean, they took us all the way to the fourth quarter in a 1 or 2 possession game, and it was catapulted by Donovan and her ability to manage their team and get people in the right places and to play off ball and to make us pay when we collapsed too much on penetration. She made us pay for that by knocking down threes. So I thought it was a good matchup between Raven and her. She got Raven in foul trouble, which it's really hard to do because we're used to Raven being on the floor, and when she's not on the floor, we're not as good of a basketball team just for what Raven brings to the table on both sides of the basketball.
Coach Griffin Haas, News 10, ABC here in Albany. You've led your fair share of teams to the Final Four, cut down your fair share of nets. Does that feeling change year to year, team to team, or does it largely stay the same?
No, each time we get an opportunity to cut down some nets to go to the Final Four, it's really special because you don't know when it's going to be the last time that you'll do it, and more times than not, there are players on the team that didn't experience it. We had 6 players on this team that didn't experience cutting down the net. I think we called them all out in the locker room just a while ago. Powell's one of them. Powell, I'm happy Powell gets the chance to get to the Final Four and display her talent on that level. Tessa, Ashlyn was Tessa, Malaysia, Sakima. Is that it? Adele, yeah. So it's like 4 or 5 of them. And I want their experience to be as special as the very first time that we've been able to cut down the nets to go to our first Final Four.
Hey, Coach. Vince Gasparini with thebigspur.com. I was just wondering if you could speak on your relationship with Camila and her progression over the past few years. Obviously, she won Regional Most Outstanding Player, and now she's one of the best players in college basketball. So could you just speak on your relationship with her a little bit?
Yeah, she got that today. I don't know where I was.
Yeah,
she got that today.
Outstanding in the region.
Okay. Who else was on the team? Anybody else? Oh, okay, good. Camila's maturation process has been just on an upward trajectory. I mean, she had to play behind, you know, a National Player of the Year, National Defensive Player of the Year for 2 out of the past 3 years. And sometimes that can put you in a position of playing a backseat. And she did it quite nicely because she doesn't ruffle anybody's feathers. We got to actually make her be who we need her to be and who she needs to be for us and for the next level. I think at times she's fought that, and there's other times where she's embraced it. And that's just the journey, the process of being great and being dominant. If it was all just, you know, smooth and easy, anybody could do it. So we're able to push her buttons in ways in which produces growth. And then it wasn't always just up. I mean, she would take 1 step forward, 2 steps back, and 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's been a really good, I think it's a good process for young, especially young post players, because they take a little bit longer to get things going. But she's had great coaches. I mean, Fred Shamil, who ended up going to Bowling Green State University, and then Coach Boyer has been a rock in Camila's life, on and off the court, to the point where she trusts her. So when you can have, and it could be, if it's not me, it's going to be somebody on our staff that really gets in the, you know, the crevices of who they are, and Coach Boyer has been able to do that for us, to allow that growth to continue to happen.
Here, and then final one is Nancy.
Billy Witz with the New York Times. You're back here in the Final Four. You're undefeated. You've done it with an entirely new starting lineup. And I'm struck by how so much of the attention is on the game here tomorrow night. And it feels maybe from the outside like you've done this very quietly and a little bit under the radar. If that's the way you kind of feel about this, I'm just curious why you think that is.
I don't know, but I like it. I really do. Like, go ahead, take the spotlight, put it somewhere else. You know, let this team continue to thrive in the space that they're given, and hopefully at the end of the day, next week this time, I'm hoping that we give a lot of people a lot to talk about. But it's like that, you know. I mean, I'm looking forward to tomorrow night's game. Now that we've won, I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna enjoy it like everybody else. Like probably millions and millions of people are gonna tune into that game. I'm gonna be one of them. I don't have a Nielsen ratings in my house, but you can count me in to watch the game tomorrow night.
Last one.
Dawn, Nancy Armour, USA Today Sports. Your team has had a knack for going on runs anytime an opponent has gotten close and kind of maybe gets hope. What allows you guys to do that? And if you're an opponent, how disheartening must that be to just see you guys just going downhill like that?
Well, they had to do something to close the gap, and then you respond. I mean, for this particular year, we've responded, and it produced wins. It's not always like that, but with this particular team, I mean, as young and inexperienced we are in certain positions, and when I say that, it's everybody's. You know, Camila started a few games for us last year. Raven started maybe 1 or 2 games for us last year, and everybody else is a starter. So they're just trying to figure it out, and they want to play for each other. They want to not disappoint each other. They hold each other accountable. I mean, Ashlyn sits up here very mild-mannered and soft-spoken, but she's not when it's time for us to lock up and defend. And you know, when they went on their run in the second quarter, when they were getting those threes off and making them, I mean, she was saying things that I didn't have to say and utilize time in the timeout. I mean, it is that. It is it is them being able to lock in and execute what we need them to execute, and when it's not executed perfectly, they figure out a way on their own to make some plays. Because a lot of times, when you're making those runs, it isn't a coach saying this. It is players making plays. It's them giving an extra effort. I mean, you saw Ashlyn out there. You know, she was everywhere. She was everywhere today out there on the floor because she wanted to win, and her teammates followed her.
Coach, congratulations. Thank you for your time this week, and best of luck next week.
Thank you. I just want to say, I thought this region did an excellent job at hosting, you know, all the teams, the hotels, the gym was very accommodating to us. I mean, I can only speak on us. So I really appreciate it, and I hope that if you make a bid for it again, you got my vote. But again, people don't listen to me.
We do.